Hello everybody and welcome aboard Citation 39er Charlie Juliet here in Brownsville. You can see the weather here in Brownsville is absolutely beautiful. Should be fairly beautiful for this whole route all the way up to Angel Fire, New Mexico. I'm actually going to go ahead and keep the recording of this departure out here pretty brief. I wanted this video to focus on the fact that Angel Fire, New Mexico is going to be a very interesting approach. We actually have to fly through a valley. A real valley this time, not just the little one we saw in Scottsboro. We've got 12,000 foot peaks. We're going to have peaks going up to 12,000 feet surrounding us, a field elevation of 8,300 feet in Angel Fire, and it's going to be tricky. We're actually only allowed to follow the instrument approach into runway 17, so if the winds are preferring runway 35, our only option is to shoot a visual, and that might be a little bit sketchy in a citation, so we might end up, if we overfly the airport and we have to take 3-5 and we just don't like what we see, we'll just go to our alternate of Colorado Springs. So it should be a very interesting flight this morning. I'll go ahead and just get the airplane set up and I'll see you guys in probably about 5 to 10 minutes for this departure briefing. See you in a few.
Brownsville Airport information, Charlie 1400 Zulu, wind 157 at 7. Visibility 10. Sky condition 1,900 feet. Scattered few clouds at 5,000 feet.
Okay, for our departure briefing here, we have information Charlie. Winds will be out of 150 at about 7 knots. So we'll be planning on taking runway 13 for departure. That'll give us 7,400 feet of runway. We'll just take Bravo all the way up to 13 and take that out of here. Our V1 will be, if I can pull that up, it was 104 if I recall correctly. Yep, there you go. There's your V1 of 104. VR will be 109, V2 125, FTO will be 185. If anything happens on the runway before V1, we're going to go ahead and close the throttle, slam it into reverse, and apply heavy braking, bring it to a stop as soon as possible. If anything happens after V1, we will delay our rotation to 125 if we aren't already off the ground. Deal with the problem in the air. We're going to punch the heading bug onto runway heading, and we'll just vector ourselves back around for runway 13 at Brownsville. Other than that, though, assuming everything goes to plan, we are going to take off runway 13. No air traffic control online as of now. I already punched our squawk code in. We also have no departure procedure at all, no SID or ODP. So we're just going to go ahead and depart runway heading. We're going to go ahead and take off. Punch the autopilot on, reduce throttles down to 80%, swing the heading bug to the right, direct to the Matamoros VOR, and then let nav mode do its thing. Then we'll go ahead and resume a normal climb out and follow our checklists. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Nope, just me. Alright, let's go get out of here now. Passengers, we'll say, are all on board. Just one final walk around of the airplane. You can see all chocks, tow bars are removed. We got this guy. We have to kind of pretend that he's not here, and we'll just taxi off to the left here. Let's go ahead and hop in. Passengers are all on board, and let's get the hell out of here. Before start checklist, park and brake verified is set. Wheel chocks are removed. Cabin doors closed. Passenger briefing. Welcome aboard Citation 39er Charlie Juliet. You've got seatbelts that go around your waist. You pull on the loose end to tighten. If anything happens where we have to evacuate, you just go ahead and exit the aircraft. You got your 2 exits. You know how to do this. If you have any problems, go ahead and look through the safety card. Don't actually use that as a proper departure briefing. That's just me bullshitting a little bit there. Speaking of which, my own seatbelts are all on. My physical seat is good to go. I'll put my feet on the rudders now. Go ahead and punch that seatbelt sign on. ECAS verified, no abnormalities. Everything looks good there. Recon light is already on. Area is clear. Fuel shutoff valve is checked. Engine start checklist. Beacon light is going to come on. Our throttles verified are both set to idle. Right engine we're going to go ahead and fire up. Give the ground crew a signal. Number 2. We're firing that bad boy up. Set you to run. And press start. And 2 starting to rise. And there's fuel flow. Fuel flow stabilized at 240. Temperature and pressure rising. And 2's rising. ITT rising. And that's a good cutoff. Engine stabilized. I'm going to go ahead and repeat the process for number 1. Our engines are stabilized, left and right gens verified are on, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the APU gen, verify that our actual generators are on by a lack of a loss of amperage and voltage to the batteries, and then we can kill the APU. So APU is going to come off now, and that's our start engine checklist complete. For taxi checklist, let me go ahead and just punch in our CTAF, which is tower on 18.9. For these Delta airports, tower and CTAF are the same thing, 18.9. Transfer that over. I did read, by the way, I know that traditionally we use 22.8 on VATSIM. I did read recently that they're starting to implement something where we use actual CTAF frequencies, so that's why I'm going to use 18.9 and see if I get yelled at. That's basically been my method with figuring out this VATSIM stuff. Do it and see if you get yelled at so far. Taxi checklist complete. We're going to go ahead and announce that we're taxiing 13 via Bravo. Brownsville traffic citation 39 Charlie Juliet's taxiing to runway 13 via Bravo, Brownsville. Let me go ahead and release that park and brake. Get this guy rolling a little bit. And sometimes you have to tap the brakes. And off we go. I should probably put that taxi light on. There we go. Gonna run over this poor guy, but that's okay. He shouldn't be there anyways. Let's start to run through our before takeoff items real quick. V1 will be 104. So if anything happens before that, we're going to close the throttle, engage reverse, and bring it to a stop ASAP. If anything happens after that point, delay rotation to 125. Deal with the problem in the air. Assuming everything goes to plan, we're just going to go ahead and punch heading mode on and start that turn out to the right, reduce our power to 80% just so we can stay ahead of this airplane. This thing will climb and be at 10,000 feet in like 2 minutes if you're not on top of it. Anyways, before takeoff checklist, flaps verified are set 1 for departure. Speed brakes verified are retracted. Trim set for takeoff. Ice protection not required. V-speeds are in and ready to go. Nav source verified set FMS, and we can cycle it real quick. And that looks good. Speed knob set manual with 185 ready to go. And the crew briefing's already complete. Weather radar not required. Once we're clear for takeoff, we'll go ahead and run through the rest of our checks here. Just got to verify real quick, looking at my map. Yep, Bravo's just going to hang our left over here. We'll hold short for... Actually, we don't even need to hold short. We can keep this rolling. Brownsville traffic citation 39 Charlie Juliet's taking off runway 13. Going to be making a right turn on departure to the west, Brownsville. Alright, that's our clear for takeoff. There's runway 13. We'll get these lights on, and I'll get the pulse light on too. So slow it down a little bit, verify, final's clear. Runway's appears to be clear, and we are cleared to enter runway 13 because I said so. Takeoff items, flight controls, one last time verified, free and correct. Ice protection not required, exterior lights are all set. ECAS, no alerts displayed. Get this lined up, start to increase. Let me just reset my camera real quick. Alright, that looks good. We'll go ahead and start to increase power to 50%. Let's punch those flight directors on standby too. Set 50%, begin to increase until we get the blue indicated. There's the blue. Airspeed's alive, power set. 80 knots, continuing. V1, rotate. When we pass V2, positive rate of climb, gear up. Increase our pitch a little bit there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring those throttles back now to about 80%. Heading mode on, autopilot on. And level change mode on, please. Alright, that's working out pretty well. Let's just increase those throttles just a little bit more. Start that right-hand turn out to intercept our course. Oop, that's not what I wanted. Right turn on course. Please. That looks like it'll work out in our favor. We can bring that first notch of flaps out. And the airplane is climbing as it should. And And I just don't want to punch it to full power just yet, just so that we don't completely overspeed this. Let's see, is that going to... Actually, I'm not sure. This might be too steep of an intercept for it to accept this, so let's just see what it does here in the next few miles. That's why I don't want to increase my speed just yet. What I might have to do is just go ahead and... Oh, did that work? No, that didn't really work. Okay. What I might have to do here is keep this... Oh, well, it wants to intercept something here. Let's see if this will work. Past 10,000 feet, by the way. We can go ahead and increase that speed now to 270. And if I hit nav mode heading off, let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. Let's just go ahead and just re-intercept that. And after takeoff checklist, just verify landing gear verified is up. 3 green, or not 3 green, just up. Flaps verified up. Ice protection not required. Pressurization's all good. Seatbelts are going to stay on. Altimeters will be set after passing 18,000. And that'll be the exterior lights are all set. After takeoff checklist is complete. And right around now I'll go ahead and set this back up to climb and punch the auto throttle on. There, now we'll really cruise out of here. There we go. Now we're intercepting our course back, so I'll go ahead and leave that on. Once we pass the 17 mark, so right around now we'll just stay ahead of the airplane. Punch 992 in on standby. There we go, that's standard barrel right there. Verify, cross-checked, and set. We are out and on our way to Angel Fire. Hello everybody, welcome to cruise. We just hit cruise, really not that far into the flight at all. Still got a little ways to go, about 30 minutes till we hit Kemple, then another 48 till the Fox Tango India VOR. Just wanted to show you a couple things just to go ahead and get our brains set up already into the arrival into Angel Fire. So let's go ahead and take a look at things. So before I show you that, I wanted to show you, if I went to the Aviation Weather Center, click on TAF data. So TAFs are the forecasts for each airport. So for example, if I look at Brownsville, Bravo Romeo Oscar, we can see that between 10:16 my time, which is 9:16 local, valid from, well, let me rephrase, this was published at that time, it's valid from 10 a.m. my time to 12, which will be 8 a.m. my time tomorrow. 160 at 7, 1500, blah blah blah. You get the, I'm not really too worried about this specific TAF, but it tells us what to expect, and that's useful because we can actually compare what they expect to happen to a live observation, so the METAR, which is the direct observation from the weather station here. And you can see it's actually following pretty close, 160 at 7, look at that. Sky's clear, so a little bit clearer than they expected, but still, not that far off at all. So, obviously, direct observations, they're a little bit useful to get a live snapshot at what's going on at our destination airport, but since we're still 2 hours out, it's good to have the TAF so we know what to expect this to change into, right? Now, if I go to Alpha X-Ray X-Ray, Angel Fire Airport, if I hit load TAF data, look, no data. That's because there is no forecast for Angel Fire. So instead, we're going to have to do two things. One, we have to file an alternate because we have no way of knowing that the weather's going to be perfectly clear there, right? There's no legal source that says, oh yeah, we can 100% say. So that's why I filed for Colorado Springs there, which if you look up the TAF for Colorado Springs, you can see, look at this, absolutely beautiful. So the METAR, the live snapshot there, saying few 12,000, temperature 19, dew point 10, so really no chance of any precip forming there. TAF saying starts turning to winds out of the north at 9 knots, skies clear, and then at 11 a.m. my time, which will be, I believe, Let me think, 11 my time, that'll be 9 a.m. local. Sky's clear, might turn into light winds out of the west at 8. Back to the task at hand here. Let's take a look at Angel Fire, what we can expect. So this is the prog chart. This is an analysis, actually it's technically a forecast. The surface analysis is the direct, here's putting everything together for what's going on right now. Prog chart is going to take this analysis where we put everything together, combine that with our forecast to give at these tap stations to kind of give a prediction of a broad overview of what's going to happen. You can see for around 1800, so a little bit after, high pressure right along the, let's see, western Colorado, western New Mexico, and we do have a trough here. So that's an area of low pressure. Now low pressure is usually a little bit crappier than high pressure weather, a little bit more unstable, but it's really not a huge pressure gradient, so I honestly am not that worried. I think the weather's going to be pretty good. We can also look at the graphic forecast if we click on, let's click on the ceilings and visibility here, and you can see no notable visibility restrictions for New Mexico. Clouds, they're saying, and we can move this up further to, let's see, 1800, that'll be 2 p.m., so we're probably going to be more like a 17 to 1600 arrival time. In fact, actually, let's do 1600, 2 hours from now. Sky's clear over New Mexico. Thunderstorms, same thing. Over Texas, actually, where we just departed, they're saying that there might be some precip, which actually makes sense, because if I look in the simulator right now, look at all of that. Look at all of that precip we're getting. So that should be below us, so I'm not too worried. We're at 43,000. The winds, this will be the most relevant to us since we know the weather's going to be relatively clear. They're saying about 5 to 10 knots out of the west, possibly west-northwest, which would not prefer runway 17, but it doesn't seem like we'd have a very strong tailwind at all. Maybe the tailwind component itself might be like 5 knots at the most, is what's forecasted. So I think we should be pretty safe to take this RNAV for runway 17 in. So with that out of the way, I'm going to switch over to my iPad and show you what we can expect. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at Angel Fire Alpha X-Ray is the airport code. I did actually install some freeware scenery for it, so maybe it'll look a little bit better than Brownsville did. I don't know, we'll see. For the approach, we got the RNAV runway 17 into not Brownsville, into Angel Fire. A lot of notes here to look at. So we've got 8,900 feet of runway length, which is a lot, but remember, it's a pretty high density altitude, because right below that you got an airport elevation of 3,800, almost 3,400 actually. Non-standard takeoff minimums, we'll take a look at those in a little bit. We cannot use this airport as an alternate, thank God, and if it's less than 30 degrees Celsius, there's some cold weather notes there, but I'm not too worried about that. And if we can't receive the local altimeter setting, we cannot take the RNAV into Angel Fire, so that's good to know. Missed approach up to 1400. We'll do this briefing later. CTAP's on 22.8, AWOS 18.025. We'll punch that in on standby, so 18. Alright, so I'm most likely going to take the Phenon transition. Or actually, you know what? Let's take the KAXX transition. That's the initial approach fix. It might be a little bit quicker than if we go to Phenon. All the way to Calmly. So we can get down to 12.7 at KAXX. Then Omly, they want us 12.7 or above. Basically maintain that to GMOF, get down to 12.3. And then a final approach fix will be 11.6 at Woodin. And also keep in mind, I saw this earlier, we cannot take the circling approach into runway 35. So we can't say, oh well, if the winds are preferring 35, we'll just take this approach down to 17, then circle around to take 35. We cannot do that according to this. So anyways, our LNAV MDA, there's no obviously this isn't a precision or LPV approach, so we'll have to take MDA of 9960s. After Woodin, we can get down to that 9960 until we have the field in sight. Looks like we should hopefully have no issues getting the field in sight based off that forecast we just saw. If for whatever reason we need to descend lower outside of this specific approach route, we got an MSA of 1440. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Nope, let me go ahead and punch that into our airplane, see if I can get a VNAV profile set up so I don't have to think for this arrival. I just want to see, according to our flight plan, how low it thinks we're going to be, because right now it thinks that we should be crossing Angel Fire at 21.5. That seems a little bit high considering when you get down to 12.7, so Let's just take a look. They're saying you should be Fox Tango India at 20,000 feet, flight level 200. So I'm going to go ahead and punch that in just so we have a slightly more respectable altitude for this. So Fox Tango India at flight level, yeah, 200. Enter. And that'll be Angel Fire 1812.7. Okay, that seems a lot more respectable. So now if I look, top of descent is a little further out. So I like that a lot better than what we just had before. So that out of the way, our approach is set up. We'll brief that when we start our descent. And yeah, this should be a pretty fun arrival. Hello everybody, as you can see we are about to hit our top descent. I'm going to go ahead and set speed to FMS and VNAV on. No, FMS should, hold on, no, stop that. Speed to manual. Manually set it back to a Mach of point, wow, okay, like 0.81, okay? Just keep that where it is. And there's my VNAV profile coming alive. Well, somehow I screwed up that VNAV profile. Resume 0.83. I think that's what I wanted to say. So now if I set FMS, VNAV, there we go, and I can set my altitude down to, we'll start it down to 15,000. That's a little bit above the MSA there. So set that to 15, and now the plane should, okay, so because I manually set it to 185 before, I needed to reset this to tell it to resume my scheduled 0.8 for the descent. There we go, now the plane's descending. So descent checklist. Pressurization verified, land elevation set 8350. That's approximately field elevation over at that airport of Angel Fire. Altimeters both set standby. Let's go ahead and grab the weather here in just 1 second. Exterior lights are not required for the stage of descent. Now that we have our estimated landing weight of 27,000 pounds, landing data, destination, weather source, let's see, current. Yeah, we'll just have to use current, just because there's obviously no prediction there at Angel Fire. Load the METAR data. That appears to be correct. We'll double check that once we grab the AWAS. Temperature 20 degrees. In fact, I can even check on my iPad here. I'm going to click Airports, Angel Fire, Weather. Latest METAR is showing 290, about 290 at 9. Oh, sorry, 260 at 9. Okay, so I'll accept that. Clear skies, temperature 203035. Awesome, we'll go ahead and punch 3035 on standby here. Approach speed, they're saying 123 and VREF of 112. I'm going to accept those landing speeds. You gotta remember here, this is 20 degrees isn't that cold in and of itself, but we are at an elevation of 8,900. So 20 degrees at a pressure altitude of 8,900. And we don't have to correct for the non-standard atmospheric pressure, only because we know it'll be better than what we get because we're in a high pressure system. So pressure altitude 8,900, temperature plus 20. I'm going to put that in my phone real quick and let you guys know what that density altitude is. Density altitude is close to 11,000 feet. So even though we're indicating 8,900, the plane will feel like it's at 11,000. So with that being said, our indicated airspeed should remain about the same as if we were landing in a lower density altitude, but you have to remember that the true airspeed, how fast this airplane will truly be going, is going to be a lot different. So we're going to have a higher ground roll, and let's see if this will actually calculate it. It's saying we're going to use 3,300, almost 3,400 feet required, and if I gave myself 50% safety margin, that's a good about half of the run, a little more than half of the runway there, about 5,000 feet, including a safety margin. So We just got to make sure we're hitting our touchdown point as best we can. I have never flown this airplane and landed it in a density altitude that high, so we'll just fly our V speeds. Usually I fly a little bit lower than what they give me for the VREF because I've noticed that the plane balloons like crazy, but considering the density altitude, let's keep it right at 112 until we're in the flare, and we'll see how this goes. If we float beyond the touchdown zone, we will execute a go-around. Anyways, with that being said now, let's go ahead and do this proper approach briefing. So, we take in the RNAV runway 17. It's the same approach plate that I showed you guys earlier. Non-standard takeoff and alternate minimums. Let's go ahead and see now if we can get the ATIS. The
Alpha X-ray, automated weather observation 1600 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Sky condition clear. Temperature 20 Celsius. Dew point 10 Celsius. Altimeter 29er.
Okay, well that's a pretty different altimeter setting. But okay, we'll go ahead and use 29er, still above standard. So 29er, that's very different than what the real-life altimeter was saying, but okay. Get key transition, we can go down to 14.4. I'll level at 15 until we're over get key. Then down to 2700 for Omli. Omli, go ahead and intercept, get down to 12.3 for Simov, 11.6 for Wudin. Once we're over Wudin, that's our final approach fix, we'll get down to 9960. Once we have the runway in sight, we can go ahead and descend lower. I think visibility is not going to be a huge issue today. Otherwise, we'll be leveling off at 9960. Field elevation will be 8380. Missed approach will be up to 1400. We'll set that as our missed approach altitude. 174 course to Hamdu, then 160 to Devok. Fox Tango India, Vortac, and hold. We'll go ahead and hit activate the approach. Nav mode. I guess I should have waited until I was over Fox Tango India, but that's okay. We'll vector ourselves out to get key. Again, we can maintain up to 2,500, or sorry, 1,500. Yeah, what am I saying? 15,000, as long as we're within, what is it, 25 miles from the airport. Anyways, that's the approach briefing complete. We're just going to proceed now, direct get key. We'll slow it down as we get a little closer, level off at 15, and then from there shoot the approach as we just briefed. See you guys in a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. I did just accidentally start talking without having my mic engaged, but that's okay. All I did was say I'm going to level myself off at 18. I'm actually about 100 below, but that's within altimeter error range, so we'll say that's okay. I'm going to level myself off at 18 till we're 25 out from the airport. You can see that little ring right there. That'll show me when I'm 25 out. Then we'll get down to the 15 number. Maintain 310 on the speed for now. Take things in manually from here. We had VNAV to get me down initially, and now we're all set to keep on flying. Approach checklist just to keep ourselves ahead of the airplane here a little bit. Landed data confirmed, we already got it in, and the ATIS shouldn't have changed at all. Ice protection not required. Flight crew flight instruments are all set, ready to go. Let me just actually double check the ATIS. So they just changed it to 3035. Okay, so that changes things once again. So that's exactly what we thought it was going to be. So we'll go ahead and set 3035 on the altimeter. That's funny. They said it was lower, then they pushed it back to 3035. Anyways, crew briefing's already complete. Passenger briefing. Ladies and gentlemen, sit your butts down. We'll go ahead and punch the seatbelt sign on, considering how low we are. I'm also going to turn landing lights on since we are, again, fairly low. Recon light, Pearls lights are both on. Seatbelt sign on. Seatbelts are on. Seatbelt sign is on, and my own seats are locked and in position. Awesome. Next will be the before landing checklist. Got another 25 miles out. Let me rephrase this. Once we're probably about 10 miles out, I'll slow it down to a good approach. We probably do 180 so we don't have that stupid long turn to get us on final. Then once we're actually established on the approach, I'll bring us down to our approach speed of 122. Actually, we'll do 200 initially. I think that'll give me a little bit more room. First notch of flaps in, you can see the plane wants to start to turn, but I'm also slowing it down, so it's going to have to keep this turn a little bit wider than it initially thought it would. I would also like to not lead this by 5 miles, given the terrain around here, but okay, I guess. You see, this is why I wanted to slow down, so that we didn't lead this this turn by 5 miles here. But, okay, I can already hear my examiner yelling at me for that, but okay. I guess this is the valley that we're going to follow in here to Angel Fire, so it looks like just going to cross over this little lower area here and then start that descent down. So once we pass Genty, I'll go ahead and start to set my altitude down to 12 point... Oh, just double check one more time. It was 12.7 initially, so go ahead and set that on standby. Oh, not quite what I wanted. I want to say 12.7. We can go ahead and set flaps to, we'll use flaps 2 now. There we go. Starting to turn us now on the final approach. We're going to go ahead and reduce speed now to 180. And once we're over Amelie, we can go ahead and bring our altitude down to 12.3. 12.7, there's Amelie, bring that altitude down to 12.3, vertical speed, por favor, at 800 feet per minute. I'm going to go ahead and speed check, gear coming down, and I'll set flaps to full over the final approach fix. For landing checklist, landing gear verified is down, 3 green, exterior lights are set, we'll turn taxi light on preemptively. Lights are on, speed brakes verified, stowed. Auto ground spoilers, I'm going to just forget about those for now. ECAS verified, looks good. What does that say? Cabin altitude, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as we land. And the autopilot will be disengaged and we'll maintain VREF once we get over, we'll reduce to approach speed after Woden, and then we'll go ahead and reduce to final, the VREF speed once we're on about a 3-mile final. Alright, we can go ahead now and bring it down to 11.9er with the before landing checklist complete. Or sorry, 11.6 is what it was. So we'll bring it down to 11.6 from here. Again, just a nice smooth descent, probably like 500 feet per minute will do. Alright, we can now get down to 9.6, but I've already got the runway in sight now that we've passed the final approach fix. I'm going to go ahead and set flaps to full, and I'm going to disengage the auto throttle and take it in myself now for the throttles, and I'm also going to go ahead and actually disengage the autopilot just because why not? We've already got the runway in sight. So autopilot off, flaps verified down, flaps set full, gear is down 3 green. And we do have a glide slope, but remember that is not a legal glide slope, it's just something given to us as a reference by our GPS. Go ahead and set our missed approach altitude up to 14,000 is our missed approach. And speed, we'll leave it 180. Just reduce that speed a little bit more. We are coming in a little bit steep. Just going to adjust my trim just a little bit. Gear down 3 green. Angel Fire traffic, Citation 9er Charlie Juliet's on a 5-mile final, runway 17, full stop, Angel Fire. There we go, kill that. Add the power in, I got a little bit slow there. Yeah, we'll maintain our virtual glide slope there. Just because we can see the area is clear. Gotta really trim this fucking thing up. Yep, runway's in sight. We'll continue. Slowing down to VREF. Angel Fire traffic, Citation 9er Charlie Juliet's on a 3-mile final, runway 17, full stop, Angel Fire. Alright, watch that VREF. We can't get any slower than this. And watch your altitude too. I don't want to get too low here, so pitch up. There we go. That'll keep me right there at VREF. Just hold this, and watch that. Watch that glide. Add the power back. See, this is what I mean. We really got to stay on top, because look at how much this thing wants to sink because of how thin the air is. Yeah, we definitely got to hold VREF here. Can't get sloppy with this. Continuing. Oh yeah, definitely can't get low here. Look at this. Start to ease that out. Start to ease that out.
100, 50, 40, 30,
Hold this up.
20.
Just this will be good. Yeah, we'll float a little bit. Come on, get it down.
10.
Yeah, that kind of floated. Okay, keep your feet on those pedals. Feet on those pedals. Get that nose down. Oh, man. All right. Reversers, and slam the reversers. Yeah, I hate the lag spike with this thing. I'm not going to try and make that taxiway. We'll back taxi here. Reverser stowed. Apply some brakes. We'll turn it around. We can just turn it around on this runway. Oh man, the fucking center line on this thing, I swear, it's annoying because the sim always freezes up. It's like you can't land at an angle because with the way the sim works, you're going to get a lag spike the moment you touch down, and then you get shot off center line there, so that's fine. I'll just slow it down here, keep this turn radius going. I feel confident we can make this turn, just got to keep the power in. Track the speed brakes. There we go. This will work. This will work. Yeah, normally I like to keep the nose up a little bit longer than that, but I wasn't getting very good rudder authority there, so I figured just get the nose down so I could use that nose wheel steering to get us back on center line. All right, well, with that out of the way, welcome to Angel Fire. Once we're clear of the runway, we'll go ahead and retract those flaps, and we'll just park out here for now. Go ahead and retract those flaps. Speed brakes are already out. Angel Fire traffic, Citation 9 Charlie Julius, clear of 17, going to be taxiing the FBO, Angel Fire. Yeah, this was a little bit tricky, that approach, because we, you saw with the density altitude, we could not get too slow or else we dropped like a rock. On the other hand, we know that once this thing enters ground effect, you float like 500 feet if you're anywhere near your VREF speed. So I'd rather float a little bit. We've got, what, 500 feet of, we'll just park over here, just give the King Air a little bit more room. We've got, what, 8,900 feet. I'm not too worried. We'd have to float like halfway down the runway for us to really screw that up. But, alright, let's go ahead and get right along here. Go ahead and stop the airplane, parking brake set, and we'll go ahead and continue with the shutdown checklist. So throttle's idle, parking brake set, ice protection's off. Oh, almost forgot to start that APU, but that's okay. I mean, really, we're just going to shut down the right engine first. The APU is on, APU generator is on, and we can tell because when I shut down this left engine right now, and then hit the cover, yeah, our battery amps, oh, let me just go ahead and turn the APU gen on. There, now you can see our battery amps are good, now the generator's on. Okay, hello and welcome to Angel Fire, New Mexico. Local time is approximately like 10:31. Just as a quick debriefing, overall the flight was not bad. Little bit of an issue departing. I probably should have intercepted the course to the Matamora, I think was the VOR name, Mike Alpha Mike, the VOR there. I probably should have intercepted that before we hit the VOR. That way we would have just had a much smoother transition en route from that VOR to the rest of the flight plan. The arrival itself was pretty good. I think I should have leveled off at 18 a little bit sooner, maybe put that into the briefing, just so that way we didn't risk getting too low outside of the MSA. The landing itself, considering that I'm not used to landing this plane in this high of a density altitude, was okay. Obviously we went off center line. Part of that is just the fact that the game freezes and kind of shoots you off to the side there, so that's why you gotta just get the... Obviously that could have been better, but I'm not gonna stress myself too much over this. But anyways, we made it in one piece, which is what matters. Here in Angel Fire, looks absolutely beautiful out here. I mean, take a look around at this. So this plane's gonna spend a few hours here, and then we're gonna leave this evening for Monterey, California. So stay tuned. I'll probably upload that video tomorrow from your perspective. It's gonna be an evening flight. Probably gonna land. I know Monterey, California is a beautiful area, but it's probably gonna be dark out by the time we get there. But that's the way it works. So I'll go ahead and see you guys very soon, and have a good one, everybody.